What can you be the best in the world at? Life is a complex place. Complexity sometimes means confusion. It means we forget the big picture. What's our purpose? What are we chasing? What are we bringing to the world? What can you be the best in the world at? It's a little question I try to ask myself every day, because I know if I stay close to it, my decision will have a far greater impact. There will be more meaning in life. See, it pushes away the things that are appealing in the short term, but don't take us anywhere in the long term. Because one of the coolest aspects of human nature is our ability to illuminate what matters and mitigate what doesn't. It helps us focus on what's important. We need to go to the grocery store while we step out the front door, paying attention to nothing but the task at hand, not the objects to our left or right. We don't know what colors the cars were that passed us by or the plants we walked by. We don't think about the blood pumping through our bodies, making it all possible as we walk to the car. We don't even see the car as its metallic components as it is. We see it as a portal to a place that has the food. See, we are blind, but at the same time have this beautiful gift of vision. We see the path right to what's most important. So let's leverage that. And what I think we need to remember is to identify in our own lives what that means about our purpose in the context of what we are becoming. See, every day I hear people talk about followers on social media. How do I get attention? How do I get noticed? How do I market myself and my brand to the world? How do I stand out? And every time I hear that, I always have this little internal reaction, like a voice saying, that's just so wrong and so backward. You stand out by adding value to the world, by being good at what you do. It's that simple. So look at it like this. We'll take a specific example to worry about the marketing and the attention and the followers first. It's like worrying about the transportation of something you don't have yet, or the incomplete. It's like spending all your time worrying about the logistics of a cargo van and having no idea what that van is going to transport. Isn't the product the most important thing? And that's the question I ask myself when I'm caught up in something flashy, or maybe out of line with my big picture. To make sure I'm on track in this crazy world, if social media disappears tomorrow, are you good enough at what you do that you could take that product or service or skill set to another platform and start again? And if you're not, fine. But are you working towards it? Those are the parameters that we should all leave between. Everything else tends to work itself out. Steve Martin's quote is saying, be so good they can't ignore you. And that's what I find so exciting, the opportunity, the chance to build something sustainable. That's why this is a long-term play. And in a world where so much emphasis is put on perception, what's the reality? What's the story? The pictures are great on the surface, but what's the value that resides below that? What are you working tirelessly day and night to be exceptional at? What are you leading to build yourself up as a force to be reckoned with, as a powerful, valuable individual? See, in my world, a lot of what I do is immersed in social media, which is why it's so important that I remember the perspective that I step out. Social media is not a product. I'm thinking much bigger than that. And I hope you are too, whether it's academics or sports or art. What is your thing? What's going to be your idea? Where are you unstoppable? Where do you add so much value that the world has to stop? We're sure you can capture it on social media, but you can talk about it face to face with clients and family and friends and strangers on the sidewalk. You can write about it, teach about it, where it's so much part of you that the phrase competent doesn't even do it justice. That's where greatness lives, not in screaming for attention or creating a facade. Those things don't stay on the test of time. I'm talking about being truly remarkable. And we all have that ability. We're all capable of mastery in some area, moving towards something that matters. We just have to make the choice to own it, to see the world and all its opportunities for what it is, to begin. And what better time than now? There are a few things you just can't learn from a textbook that you have to live through to see, to be fully entrenched in, because here is a simple truth. This world is a tough place. Getting what you want and making the most of the time you have requires that you put yourself in the position to succeed. That means you see a finish line before one exists. Look, no one's ever going to call you and tell you how incredible your idea is. You can't build a business on potential or win a championship on promise. The results are binary. You either accomplished something or you simply did not. Right? That's it. That's what people see, the result. That means every second, every step of the way from where you are right now, until you cross the finish line, depends on you and your thoughts. How do you internalize failure? How do you look at setbacks when no one is around to pat you on the back or tell you how great you are? Will you have enough self-belief to move forward? Because, my friends, that's the hardest part. That's what no one talks about. Having the courage to wake up every single day of your life. They know that you are building towards something incredible. You are creating a masterpiece from the ground up. And that means that when you're looking in the mirror, you believe in what's staring back at you. You see the unseen, and you are willing to bring it to life. That is the foundation on which you build greatness. And it's a daily pursuit, creating milestones, designing the small wins that keep you going, that keep you moving, that get you past all those times you so desperately want to turn around, but know that for you, it simply isn't an option. That is not your reality. You have more waiting for you. And so you press on, cloaked in confidence. You move into the unknown, seeking the day the rest of the world looks up and calls you lucky. They'll look at what you built and say how fortunate you are, but they won't comprehend the 20-hour days, the focus, the ridicule for being different or obsessive or non-conformist. They won't know that self-belief trumped all of that it was everything. The word great is separate for a reason. It implies a specific set of beliefs and values. It means you saw light when most people saw darkness. It means you said yes when most people said no, and you moved forward when the rest of the world turned around. Live in your greatness, see it, and live in it. It is there, and you need to know that it's there, because it will make all the difference. Your self-belief will define you. There's a quote attributed to Seneca that states, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, or he is not permitted to prove himself." Meaning is in pursuing the difficult thing that we obtain meaning, recognition, that we prove ourselves. But prove ourselves to whom? This is the same Seneca who famously stated that we suffer more in imagination than we do in reality, that he is the most powerful who has power over himself. And that's one of the beautiful things about Stoicism. It makes us ask a very simple and often overlooked question: who's the adversary here? Who's the opposition we're dealing with as we fight our battles? Or is it that must be transformed? Is it the outside world, or the way our eyes view the outside world? What's holding us back? The circumstances, or our own personal thoughts about the circumstances? And I think this is where we misunderstand the challenges before us. I want to delve into this power of perspective to explain that we are the gatekeepers between ourselves and our ideal lives. And very often we do a good job of ensuring that the gate stays closed. We sabotage our own goals, our own dreams, our own happiness, while simultaneously pointing the finger at a million externalities. See, when we look at the difficulties of life, and there's no doubt that life can be a very difficult thing, it's easy to look at the world as this binary playing field, like me versus the world. And in fact, we often visualize the world as the enemy pushing back against us, as if its motives were counter to ours. But so many of these narratives, these stories, they actually say nothing about the outside world. And when we look deeper, it becomes apparent that they actually say a whole lot more about us. It's the one viewing that gets to decipher what the circumstance means. And so all narratives are reflections of the observer. I used to tell a story about two brothers who had an alcoholic father. He'd come home drunk, he'd abuse his sons. They had a terrible childhood. And as they each grew up and had families of their own, their paths kind of diverged. One became abusive, and the other was kind and loving and caring. And when confronted, the now abusive brother stated, "Well, look, how can you blame me? Don't you see how I was raised?" But the kind, loving and caring brother stated, "Of course I'm like this. I could never put my family through what I went through as a child." Same circumstances, different lenses, interpretations, which means different real-world result. And the idea here is to emphasize how one of the most important abilities a human being possesses is the ability to interpret the world around them. And I think of us as subjects navigating a world of objects, as though the things around us don't have meaning until we place meaning upon them. That's what humans do, create narratives out of objects. And that often overlooked, seemingly insignificant ability places a lot of power in our hands. Very rarely is it what we see, it's what we think, and what we do about what we see. Have you ever hung out with people that just tend to be happy, upbeat, and positive energy? I have a very good friend like that, whose first inclination is always to find the positive. And moments where I've sort of trained myself to pause, take a second, sift through the emotion, uncover the value in a tough situation, refocus, and take a strategic step forward. I look over at him, and he's already arrived there. He's been there for 3 minutes. Right. Eliminated the negativity. It's his first instinct. He's the metaphorical kid hopping around in puddles, whistling at the top of his lungs, while everyone else is hiding out from the rain, or at least trying to find the courage to run out onto the street with. Then some people seem to always find the negative. And it doesn't matter what this situation is. Happiness is fleeting, only to reveal the negativity that never seems to go away. The kind of person that if they won the lottery, their first thought might be, "Oh no, but what if I lose it all?" Both examples are people projecting themselves onto the world around them. Same way that smoke covers and consumes an entire room. It's not the room that's the culprit. Here's another example. There is always a similar point, and this is all from a collection of speeches. By comparing humans to oranges, which is probably not a comparison you've made recently, but he said there's consistency to an orange, and then it can be filled with one thing. When you squeeze an orange, orange juice comes out. It will never be apple juice or grapefruit juice. It will only emit what it has inside, which is orange juice. And here's the connection. When life pressures us, challenges us, or metaphorically squeezes us, we only emit the emotions that are contained and available, that are alive and well within us. If there is no jealousy contained in our thinking, we're not going to project jealousy out into the world. If there is no hatred within us, we will not project hatred onto others.